It's 8:10 in the morning, and it is a beautiful day out here in Saipan today. If you're out there in the mainland, you are missing out because this is one of the good ones. It's 79 degrees outside right now. Humidity's already 84%, and that's up at the Saipan International Airport, and that's not that bad at all. So if you think that's bad, you're wrong. It's going to be a little windy today. We're going to have mostly sunny skies with a high near 86 and gusts as high as 21 miles per hour, and that's only going to pick up as the night goes on too. So not too bad. Going to be some isolated showers out there, but hopefully it won't rain on your parade because it's going to be a great one today. My goodness, I swear it has been like night after night after night after night of stuff going on for me. And it's not going to slow down at all tonight either. I mean, it's like today's a busy day. We got stuff through the morning, in the afternoon, and tonight. Tomorrow's another banger. I mean, like, it's good. It's exciting. And then all of a sudden we get to Monday, and it's the Super Bowl, and it's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, we have I was just at VFW last night, which was what started the whole chain of crazy staying out late stuff. And we're there because we picked up some new speakers that we got installed, a whole new sound system and everything, so that the game sounds great. You know, it's going to sound great. That was the only complaint that we had last year. If there was even a real complaint, was like, the game was kind of quiet. I'm like, all right, we got that fixed. And now we got good music there. It's going to be great. Like, what's coming next? Lights? Yes, I hope so. So while I was there, hung out with the guys from Marpac for a while who helped us set everything up. And they're installing some signs. I mean, you name it. It's going to be very cool. But then I walked next door to say hey to Scotty and to see what it looks like in the home of the best pizza in the Marianas over at Godfather's. And saw a couple of familiar faces in there that I hadn't seen in a while that are back on island. And it was really pretty cool. And then I bumped into Brock from Turnkey. I'm like, oh, this is great. What's going on, partner? And then we just started hanging out. And we were there. And then we ended up running across the street and hanging out and having a few more these beverages. I don't know. It's my first time. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I think it's called beer. But yeah, it's a new beverage. I thought it was pretty good. And I think I'm going to drink some more of them. But not today, not this morning anyway. Maybe tonight. Maybe some Sprito at baseball tonight for sure. But last night, it was just too good. And it was just a great little night. So a little bit of a later start for us today, but I'll tell you what, again, it is like nonstop action, getting out all this stuff ready. That Super Bowl planning is a big deal, and I know that's not easy. I know the guys over at Last Shot have a great deal for their Super Bowl party as well. And I'll tell you, hosting a party is one thing, but like when it's something like this, there's a lot of work that goes into it. In preparation, you rest your hopes that a lot of people are going to come out. And Last Shot has a great deal. So here's what they're doing. It's $30 and it gets you bottomless mimosas throughout the game. Holy crap. That sounds like brunch to me. Now they open at 8 o'clock and the rest of the stuff they have at the bar is going to be happy hour prices throughout the game. Deal. But here's the thing I like the best. They've got grills that are going to be fired up and ready, so you can just cook. Bring your stuff with you, and you can cook on the grill right there. Who does that? It's such an awesome deal. You guys don't miss out. You can also do that stuff. Have you ever done the squares? We got the grid, the 10 by 10, so you could possibly win. They have $25 squares over there at Last Shot, and you can claim yours today. Just send them a text at 789-6629, or better yet, stop by the bar. You got to go and check them out. It's a great spot. Anyway, I want to say good morning to everybody who's tuned in this morning. EJ, thank you. Great to see you this morning. Connie, great to see you this morning. Toba Castro, the tip man from Dan, already getting some love by hooking up Luisa, it looks like, with some great tint. I know someone else who wants to get it. I know that Mariano's thinking about it for his cool Hilux. Chris Domakane all the way from WA. Great to see you, man. I hope all is well in Tacoma Town. Let me go, by the way. I'm firing this thing back up because I'm like, what is going on? How come it was not showing up but now it is, so it's good. Let me open up this one so I can see who's over there on that side. All right. Hey, you might notice that the camera is a little bit different today. It is. I got a totally different setup. It works. It's good. But the main thing is because tomorrow, so you'll get used to this view again for tomorrow. But I've got the big shoot for the chamber tomorrow that we're going to be doing in the back studio. And so I've just got this easier camera to set up. I've got everything else set up and ready to go over there. So I just got the lighter set up for today. And that's not too bad. All right. Hey, you know what? I want to talk a little bit about, and I got to put something else on. I got to talk about the stuff that's going on with zoning, because there's a lot of stuff, and I see something about it in the newspaper as well. But last night we went to the zoning hearing, and this was important because they're doing some great things. The zoning office, and you don't hear that all the time. You've got the zoning administrator Therese Ogumoro, and she is so soft-spoken, but she's sharp. She knows all the stuff that's going on. But again, she's so soft-spoken. So she's got a microphone and a speaker, which sounded great. So I got to hear what zoning's plan was and how they're enforcing it. And it looks good. Like some of the stuff that they're doing, they're basically saying, hey, if zoning comes in and says your place looks bad and it's in violation of the zoning, the Blighted Property Maintenance Act, right, and the nuisance abatement, that you need to do something about it, and you got X amount of time. And if you don't do something about it, we're going to start fining you a lot of money, like as much as $1,000 a day, right? Now, that's if you don't do anything about it, but you can talk to them, and they can work on something with you. If you're a business, I think you get 60 days. If you're just a regular resident, like your residential place, it's going to be 90 days to fix whatever it is that they say you need to fix. And otherwise, again, steep penalties. And if you can't pay for that penalty over the course of 6 months, then you start to get interest at 6% on it. Now, they don't take your land. No, we talked to her about that too, because that was one of the concerns that came in. What, they're going to take land? No, that's not their point. Their point is to clean up Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. So there are a lot of different things about that. And you know, the worst thing about it is that there was one person aside from me who showed up. And they're trying to get the word out about all this stuff. And I'm telling you, it's like someone reached out to me and said, hey, this is crazy. How are they going to, put this kind of a financial burden on folks when everybody's hurting right now? I get it. I definitely understand it. But I also now have seen the benefit of what they're doing. Remember the movie station by Shell Dandan? That building that's been steadily crumbling for at least 10 years? It's gone now. And it's gone because of this. Whoever owns that land and owned that property ended up, instead of getting fined and all that other stuff, they worked with zoning and got it demolished. And it's great. It looks so much better because of it. They're just trying to clean up Saipan. Well, I mean, the whole island, all the islands. And it's a great thing. It could be expensive. But at some point, this is exactly what we have been talking about for a while. We're saying that, hey, these blighted properties, especially in our tourist district, right? Like, you're hurting the island if you don't do anything about it. So now they've got some teeth in these regulations to go out and say, hey, you know that little drinky shack across from Crown that's been there and been abandoned forever? If you don't knock that down, we're gonna note it. They're doing exactly the stuff that we talked about. They're doing it. They're going to notice the property owner, and it's not just the property owner. It's whoever's got the interest in the property. Like if someone's leasing it, they're responsible for it, right? Excuse me, all this yawning. So they're going after those guys, and they're going to say, hey, look, you got 30 days to do something about it. If you don't appeal it, then that's it. And if you don't fix it, then we're going to fix it, and then we are going to bill you for it. That's it. That's the plan. I am 100% on board with this. I think it's great. I think it's an outstanding plan. Now, if they get too deep into it, ticky-tacky stuff like for residences and stuff like that, that's where it's going to be a little bit of a problem. But for the touristy areas, people who own those buildings that are just vacant, wide open, they're breeding grounds for like rats and mosquitoes and all that, they're going to start going after that. When it comes to the like places that have like the thing I lovingly refer to as Sodalore Laundry, like that laundromat in Garapan that's been beat up since Sodalore, like whoever owns that is going to get a fine if they don't fix it, right? If they leave it, like the roof's gone and it's all in shambles and all that stuff. If you don't fix that, you're going to get fined. That's it. That's what they're going to do. Name another one. Pick another place in Garapan if you want. We could stick with Garapan, like the Garapan Core, right? That CNMI Museum, that's one of them, right? If they don't get rid of that or fix that, then they're going to get fined. And again, it's just an eyesore. It's dilapidated. It's literally falling apart. It's not figuratively. It's a safety hazard. And so now zoning is going in and doing something about it. Eric says, Brad, if the residence is vacant, how will they know if the owner? How will they know the owner of the property or the rightful owner? That's a great question. So they said they were going to the registrar at the court and to find out who the owner is of the property. They're putting the notice on the property as well, and that's the main thing. So they're going to try to track down the owners through that. But if they're unsuccessful after a month of posting up the notice, then they're going to consider that as officially noticed. And if nothing happens after that, then they're going to keep going forward with all the other stuff, and then they're just going to keep going with it. And they can't, again, it's not that they're claiming the property. They're not. They're taking the initiative to do something about it. Now, not everyone might not be in love with all the specifics of it, but there are some really, really good things about it. And then there's something like, I don't know if I love this. Like, again, the main focus is it going to be they're sending out zoning SWAT teams all over to check out every neighborhood and all that other stuff. But their main thing is like the main areas, right? So the main thoroughfares first is where they're going. That's their priorities. The tourist, areas, and then they're going to branch out after that. Like, don't expect a knock on your door tomorrow saying, hey, but you might, right? And they're talking about a lot of things in there. They're talking about junk cars. You can't have junk cars abandoned on your property, like out front and all that stuff. You know, if it's in your backyard, who's going to know, right? But if it's out there on the road or if it's in your front yard, if you've got like a refrigerator on your lawn and an old stove rusting away on your lawn, that you're going to get cited for it. But really, it's a kick in the pants to get you to get rid of that stuff because they don't want Saipan to look terrible. Saipan Teniero. I'm talking about the whole CNMI. And that's it. It's also a health hazard and a safety hazard, and they're saying, hey, you can't live like that. It says they should clean up all those buildings across Kanoa. Great point. All of those buildings are full-on part of this. Right, all of them, if they haven't already been noticed, they're going to be noticed. And they're going to have to do something about it. Now, as part of the display as part of the presentation they gave last night, they showed a bunch of before and after, like some success stories that they've experienced after having some contact with the property owner saying, hey, we're coming. We're going to start doing this stuff, and you need to do stuff. And one of those is that old movie station. And when I was taking the kids to school the other day, I'm like, holy cow, this is great. I was almost excited, like somebody might be building something there, but that's not what's going on. They just demolished that building that was already just crumbling on it falling all over itself. It was a real safety hazard. So then I asked a zoning board administrator, like, so would IPI be considered? She's like, yeah, that is considered. That is considered. That would be a blighted property under these regulations. Like, no kidding. It said, then instead of issuing me a fine, send over some people with the proper truck or equipment to pick up the junk in my front yard. Hey, so great question, Louisa. Great question. So, or a great statement. So someone asked that question from the Indigenous Affairs office last night. He came down. I can't remember his name. I want to say it was Ed. But he came down and asked that question. He's like, hey, what about people who don't have the ability to do this stuff? What if they don't know, like, what if it's Manamco? not that you are. I'm not saying you, although that would be pretty funny. That was not where I was going with that. But he's like, what about Manamco who can't do it themselves? You know, what do they do with all this stuff? She's like, contact us where we want to work with you. The zoning folks aren't going to be the ones who take it for you, but they do want to work with you to help you get rid of that stuff, because that's ultimately what it is. Yes, Tobot says, I remember the mayors will go around and pick that stuff up. Yes, they said specifically about coordinating with the mayor's office to do that kind of stuff. It's brilliant. They literally want to help. I feel like I'm ghost sometimes. Oh, man. Well, I'm starting to feel that a little bit. Yeah, so that's the good part about it, is that they're not just saying, here's regulations, screw you. They're trying to do stuff. They want to help you help make the CNMI a better looking place, and they'll help you coordinate with them. And there you go. So I don't think it's a bad thing. Now, it was scary when I got the first message. Somebody was telling me about it. Like hellfire and brimstone. Like, this is the worst thing ever. It's going to be terrible. They're taking land and all this other stuff. Well, it turns out, because I asked that question too, specifically. And maybe I could cue it up so you can hear the actual answers from Teresa Ogumuro, because I thought the presentation was great, and I thought her answers were, on point. Like, she didn't dance around anything. So I was impressed. And what a great staff they have down there. Hold on. I'm going to pull up last night's presentation just to cue that part up. Let's see if I can't get it for you. Hold on one second. I'm going to turn this music thing up.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. We're here.
See if I can't share this with you.
It's partially improved. We are still doing compliance meetings.
Hold on. Oh, I can show you. Oh, I love the little ending part. These are some of the before and after shots.
Let's work together to improve our island's quality of life.
Fines or penalties.
Let's get to this. Hold on. And by the way, I asked them to send this to me, so I could send you the exact presentation.
Explains that the administration.
So Eric, I'll leave that on the screen right there. So this was it. So they'll post a notice on the premises where they think, some bad stuff's happening, right? And then it's going to explain what the nuisance is, the nature of their violation, and explain all this other stuff. They tell you they're going to include all the info about like how you can appeal it and the process. And then the administrator shall serve all orders on the property owner. Mailing of the order shall be sufficient proof of service, or the order may be personally served or served by some other method recognized under the laws of the Commonwealth. If the administrator cannot, specifically this goes to your question, Eric. If the administrator cannot ascertain the mailing address of the owner after making reasonable inquiries, the posted notice of the order on the property shall constitute sufficient notice to the owner or representative thereof, and no additional notice or service shall be required for any action hereunder. Little legalese there. So basically they're saying, hey, we're not going to stop because we can't get a hold of you if you don't live here anymore or something like that. We're going to go to the registrar. We're going to find out to the clerk. What's that office? Is it the registrar or the recorder? They're going to go to the recorder's office to find out like who owns that property or who's leasing that property, and then just look it up and try to find out who it is, and then serve it again. And they'll also post the notice on the property itself, and they'll just keep trying to find out, and they'll mail it to the last address. Oh, excuse me. the last known address for whoever owns it or who has the least interest in it, and that's going to count, right? Most monotone presenter. Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, there was nothing flashy about the presentation about like, hey, but if you like that, but no, there was none of that. But not everyone has the same kind of style. But I'm 100% with you. I would, but to be fair, I almost look at it like a performance you're giving, right? And that's not an easy performance when nobody shows up. Like I was the first person to show up, like the first person, and this is such an important thing, and this is why it really surprised me. You know, the implications of this are pretty big, right? People could be paying some serious fines and all that, and nobody's going. Now I think it's because of the way they're letting people know about it. They told me that nobody went to the one in Cagman. They told me that they had just a couple people at one of the other ones. They said the biggest one they had between 6 and 10 people in San Roque. And now, I think part of that is, one, people usually don't care if zoning's going to do something. If they're going to come out with something, they probably don't show up in droves. But I think more importantly, though, it's how they're getting it out. They said they put it out through the paper and they put it out through KSPN. And I'm like, all right, well, I didn't even know about it because I don't read the little quarter-page ad that you put on the Variety, and I don't watch the news. And I certainly don't watch their commercials. And if I do watch it, I just fast forward past them. So I don't think their public notice method is good enough. So I think we're going to blow you away with the exposure on this. I think you're going to find that because we streamed it live, you're going to get more people knowing about this, and you're going to reach more people than all of the stuff that you've been doing since January 14th combined. And before I left, there were about 900 views already. Last night, before I left WSR, where the presentation was, she was blown away. I'm like, look, advertise with us. And more than anything, on top of that, have your team come in here and tell us what's going on. Right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. Getting people out. So don't just check the boxes. You got to use this. This is a platform that people use. This is a platform people watch, people spread the word, people in the comments. People send us the info. Again, this is how I found out about it because somebody did that. Somebody sent it to me. And it was probably someone from up north. I'm actually not sure where he lives. And he was furious. And I don't know if he went to the hearing or if he just heard about it too. So there's ways around it. The biggest problem is that they know the turnout is low and they don't do anything about it. Well, yeah, but that goes for a lot of different things. I think that's not just for, I wouldn't say it's just for their office. I think that's for a lot of things. I hope that we're helping. That's it. I really hope that this is how it works, that what we're doing is a service for stuff like that. Louisa says, sorry, this is going back to your earlier one. Just speaking for old or disabled people, not me in particular, I hope that they can call the mayor's office, whatever. Yeah, and that's it. And so that was absolutely it. Tobot. Oh, man. You're the best, dude. But, yeah, I like to go directly to them instead of just talking about there's only so many places we could be and so many things we could do, but going there last night and bringing it to you guys so you could see it. I mean, maybe you can't go. Maybe you're like me and you got a million things going on all the time and you can't always go in the one that's in your village you can't get to. Last week, I couldn't go to the one that was in San Vicente because we had the show in here for Marianas Business Network and Bea was out there doing the stuff for My Teppanyaki. So we couldn't go and check out the one that's closest. So we saw this one. And so now it's there for everybody, and you can watch it as many times as you want, and you can go back and listen to more. Excuse me. So let me get to some more of this stuff. I want to play her answers. And basically, she did the presentation twice. Mr. Villagomez came in and said, hey, I'm sorry I'm late, but could you answer this? And so as nice as she is, she didn't just say, well, sorry you missed it. We did it earlier. No, She went through and she did it again. So there ended up being a total, including me, 3 people who were there who don't work for them.
The regulation
Hold on.
shared with you.
Let's go to the questions.
To begin the enforcement.
Oh, yeah, that's about the specifics for all of those. The priorities. Remember I said they're not just going to every street in every village and just like, bam, fine. No. Properties within sight of thoroughfares, and that's like the main roads, right? And then properties within 300-foot radius of a school or a playground. Now it says radius is measured from the approximate center of the property on which the school campus is situated. All right, so that could be a really big campus, a big place. So, but some of these places, like you said, about like across from Kanoa, they are the ones being targeted. Could you imagine though, like Kanoa, they're trying to get their lease renewed, and that their lease comes up this year, and so they're not really doing much with it until they get that lease renewed. Then once that happens, they're gonna do stuff with it again. But imagine though, running that property, you fly in, you're ready to have this great vacation in Saipan, and you walk out and you see those crappy fallen down buildings. Oh, you want me to raise my audio a little bit? Oh, you mean for the video? I'll do that. Yeah, if my levels are too low, let me know. But so if imagine you walk out from Kanoa and you see that pile of rubble with some windows, what they call buildings across the street, where they're all like the roof is caved in, and you can look where the roof isn't there, and you can see all the parts of the roof and all the junk inside. It's awful. It's just awful. And that, like, CK looks terrible right there because of that. That's the first thing they see when they leave the property. You want to go for a walk there? No. Do you want to cross the street? My God, no. It looks so bad. So that's what this stuff is going after. Like, whoever owns those buildings, I mean, like, it'll be nice to have something happen with those buildings. No question about it. All right, so let me get to those questions from...
And these include
hold on.
and fine section.
Let's see, what is this? All right, so here's the thing, though. Commonwealth terminates it, the property owner upon which the public nuisance was terminated shall pay. Okay, so this is it. Basically, this one says, hey, if this is for a resident, okay, so the 90 days they give you if it's a residential property to clear up whatever it is that they say. They say, hey, that building that's falling down on your property by your house, you need to knock that down or we're going to fine you. You got 90 days to do it. All right, so that's it. And then if it's a non-residential property, so like commercial, you get 60 days to do it. Same thing. And if you don't do it, then that's not good. And then if the CNMI has to do it for you, that's where this comes up. It says if the CNMI terminates the public nuisance, the owner of the property upon which the public nuisance was terminated shall repay the total expense, including administrative costs and interest incurred by the Commonwealth. Yeah, by terminated the nuisance, that means if they have to knock down your building. Is it really? The audio's lower today? Guys, I'm sorry. I have no idea what's going on. I have no clue what's going on. I don't know. Let me raise this up. I mean, everything should be popping, but that's all right. You want me to talk like this? Is that better? All right. So let's get to it. It says, if a Commonwealth is not repaid the total expense incurred by the Commonwealth, a lien shall be placed on the property and any other property of the owner for the total expense of penalties imposed. So if the CNMI has to come in and take care of business, if they have to TCB, basically, then they're going to put a lien on your property. And you're going to have to, hey, thanks, Jerry, appreciate it. So let's just say it costs them $10,000. They're going to take, they're going to bulldoze, pull everything away, and they're going to be like, hey, you owe us $10,000. There's now a lien on your property from the CNMI. So, and all your property. You owe us this $10,000. You got 6 months to pay. It's 180 days. If you don't pay, then you get interest, and there's at 6% per annum. Now, when I talked to her about it, there are different things that they can do. But the key is, she said, you need to work with them. They need to work with you. You need to approach them so that you could do that, so that something can happen. They already know that some people are going to be deemed indigent. They just need to get this ball rolling. And those indigent people aren't meant to suffer from any of this stuff. They want to work with you. They want to get this done. They want to move this program forward. Comment says, I think we need a governor to be more hands-on with these department heads, like what the senator did recently in the news about processing inefficiency. Yeah, I'm here. I hear you. Like when I was watching the presentation last night, I was really thinking, like, man, how could I help? If I was doing this, how would I do it differently and really go out to try to make this thing work? I mean, like, you would think one of the regular requests that people say is like, hey, can we get a town hall? Can we get a meeting about this stuff? And so by them doing this now, they're going to every village to do this stuff. I mean, it's almost like what more would you ask for? But they got to be engaging, and people need to know about it. And you really need to like shake those trees to let people know, hey, this is what's coming. You got to know about it. But an online thing would be a really good thing. Like an online presentation of this needs to get out. And maybe they should just pay us to do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be me, right? I mean, there's other people that could do it too. I would rather it be me, so get some money. You know, like these guys probably want to get paid, you know. But the idea of doing it, breaking all these things down one by one, and then let people, then it's going to circulate. And that can be sent around on WhatsApp. That could be sent around, because it's not like zoning's got like, oh, everybody follows the zoning page. No, you put it up on the governor's page, and then you do a mass press release for the governor's office to direct everybody to it. And then you invite people there to explain it to the press about what that's all about. And have, give that, because when I asked for the info, when I called them, they really weren't hip to coming on the show and talking about, they're like, well, you can come to the meeting. I'm like, all right. That kind of says to me, it's like, hey, you can't be lazy, Brad. You need to go, and if you really want to know about it, you need to go. But I think that when you get an invitation to come on a show to talk about something like that, where you can really spread this message to a lot more people, you have to take it. You have to embrace that opportunity and go with it. So I think, I don't know what the hesitation is. Maybe it's because I don't want to, it's too, I'm nervous or whatever. I don't know. I get it. I'll make it easy, but still, it needs to get out there. I said, if they had a raffle for free stuff, more people would come. Yeah, that's true. I don't know why, but that's true. Eric says, hey, sorry, Eric, just catching up your comment. Says, what if it's just property, no building yet, but vegetation, hold on, I'm scrolling up. But vegetation is overgrown and property is leased, but has been touched since leased and is an eyesore. Would they cite the owner or the lessee? So it depends. Based on, like, if there's dead trees just there, they said, yeah, that's part of it. And if it's just overgrown, yeah, there's something like on there about the grass, the level of the grass and everything. It says, your friend could let me take care of the place in exchange for me to build something and live there. There you go. Yeah, I mean, and that's it. So there's a lot to it. And people, I think, really need to know more about this. They need to hear more about this. And that's why we went to it. So let me get to those questions that we asked. Trying to fast forward a little bit. That's the schedule for their meetings. And this might be it here.
I have a question.
What's your
All right, so this is I'll turn up the volume.
Identify yourself, your full name.
Sure. Brad Rosala from NMI News Service. There's a bunch of them. One, I want to find out if I could get that PowerPoint presentation so I can help explain it a little bit better to some folks. It's great. I love it.
Thank you.
and a lot of the photos. In fact, the photo that you showed about the one in like Azito Dandan area, that movie station one that went down. I was wondering like why all of a sudden somebody finally did something with it. Now I know why, because of this. That was
Yes.
awesome. I'd seen it like that. It's been more than 10 years.
And this is a perfect example of, each one of us, community members, helping each other to clean, keep our island safe, and it just takes, encouragement and teamwork in that. So once we notice the property owner said, okay, we'll clear it up. This is a perfect example of not having to wait until notice period ends or something like that.
So the question I have was when you were talking about the junk cars and abandoned cars, and then you mentioned like people who have all those cars there, not just like somebody's house with a car out front, but like the repair places. So I'll use an example, just B&R, right, along, they're a little bit tucked back off the main road. I think that's still Olei, I'm not sure. Chalmala. Okay, so they're kind of tucked in the back and around the corner. The verbiage that you said was that it has to be completely enclosed. Do you mean by a fence, or do you mean like a roof, or what do you mean for that?
All right, so she's about to give that answer. The question was about, they mentioned that if you have a repair shop or like a junkyard repair shop, that you can't have those vehicles there for more than 60 days after they enforce this, unless they have to be in a fully enclosed place. And I'm like, well, do you mean enclosing the property with a fence? She's like, no, like with a roof, a full-on structure. So it seems a little wild to me because you need to have those kind of junkyards. I mean, they're basically cars that are parked on the property, which are really parts facilities. Like, that's it. So she's saying now that they have to be in a building. Well, let's let her give that answer.
Within a structure, within enclosed structure. We understand that service bay areas may have some openings, but the general idea is to have the structure enclosed and not have a lot of junks parked.
Well, so I use that one as an example, but I don't know that that's the only one. That's probably like at least 100 vehicles, I mean, if not more, that they have over there, right? Where would they take them? Where would they go? Or is that just for them to figure out?
Yeah, we do have, and they can work easily with recycling companies or find some properties which some owners have either are beginning to do or have done in the past within the lower base area, industrial areas. But just to discourage any massive parking going on, that would begin to become hazardous to the safety of the public and traffic, motorists. The act is there to facilitate for them to put them in a closed structure, do their operations within a closed structure, and not really accept more cars than necessary. The blight law, by the way, works in very close, what do you call it? It coordinates very closely with the zoning law, because the zoning law also has a public nuisance section about junk cars. What happens right now with enforcing the zoning law is our staff enforcement goes out, tags the junk cars that are so excessive or they're not in the right place or impeding traffic safety. They tag them and then communicate with the mayor's office for pickup so that they can dispose of them.
Then, what was the other one? Oh, yeah, so you mentioned at the pools and and then when you said junk cars, is there something, I'm just thinking if there's loopholes that people might try to use for the definition of a junk car, because it was junk car or abandoned car on residential property, and the other one was the pools. Does that mean that like zoning's going to be using a drone to fly over somebody's backyard and take a look at what they have?
No, we're investing now. I know, the economy's not so good. We're trying to find more funding assistance, but that's in our mind right now. We're going to be purchasing those things just to see if it can assist us also to identify. We're not in, I'm not saying we're going to readily go into properties, in every property, look at their swimming pool, if it's clear or it's, hazardous or what. But there are situations where we will receive public complaints, or even our enforcement while enforcing one property, they also witness that there's a big pond of water that is already with a lot of animals inside. It's not clear. It's producing. It can be anything may be in there. So yeah, we are. Those things fall under the blight.
All right, this will be the last one, unless I think of something else.
No,
But
go ahead and
it was going to be, one of the pictures that you used was La Fiesta. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, so who's the owner that's going to get in trouble for La Fiesta? Is it the CNMI government? Is it the college? Is it CUC? I know they all had something to do with it at some point. Or does that go to the actual landowner?
No. Within the act, it explains it in detail, but what staff is doing is going through the process first by identifying the current owner. That means owner is defined as anyone with interest on the property. It can be a leasehold interest, or if it was never leased out or what, then the original owner would be the one to be served notice. Owner is defined as anyone with interest on the property.
So she said that, and clearly La Fiesta is one of the things that they're targeting, and it's not just La Fiesta, but in the rules that they say that to clear these things up, you need to board up the windows, you need to board up the doors so that people can't get in there. They even use the word talking about drug traffic or drug activity, or like there's something in there about morals, basically, so people don't go in there and start shagging like minks. Like, that's it. And taking care of the overgrown vegetation. The amount of work that they would need to do, yeah, exactly. The amount of work they would have to do to get La Fiesta compliant would be massive. There's so much trash in there. The foliage, the overgrown jungle stuff all over the place on its own is a massive thing. But to board up every single window, at least on the first floor, and all the doors would be monumental task. And who is responsible for it? I know that it was leased out. The college had stuff and interest in it at one point, and I know that the CUC had something to do with it at one point also, and they left a whole lot of stuff there. It's a true story. Like, they left a ton of stuff. The college left a ton of stuff there. Like, they had that film program. They left reels and reels of film there. They left a massive soundboard in there. All kinds of stuff that has since been, either taken or I know they didn't probably reclaim it. All kinds of stuff got taken from there when they basically abandoned it. I remember seeing CUC had tons and tons and tons of paperwork and files that were there. They had discs, full, like CDs and DVDs full of not videos, but like info. Back when people used to store information that way. lots and lots and lots of stuff was there and left. So I don't know who it is who would be in charge of taking care of that, but that's a lot of work. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like it sounded like it was like a CNMI-wide homeowners association, and I don't love that for sure. I don't love it for sure. But I do like getting rid of like the buildings that are crumbling in tourist areas shouldn't be crumbling. If there's a safety hazard one like near a school, yeah, I think that needs to get taken care of. But here's the thing. It didn't come across this way when you read the regulations and everything, but Therese Ogumoro was very, very clear about it. She's like, look, we're not trying to bring down a hammer on people. We're trying to work with people to make Saipan more beautiful. And not just Saipan, but the CNMI. Or actually it is. It's the Saipan local law. So she's like, we're not trying to swing the hammer and just crush people for this stuff. We want to work with you and help you work with that stuff. And I think that it's because of their intent to really make improvements and help people out. That's where they need to communicate that to. And Lou says, and if my house is nowhere near the main road, I don't need anybody citing me for my broken down pickup in the front of my house. I'm not bothering anyone's eyes but my own. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But like, check this out, right? So like, I've got neighbors down my street that have about 6 broken down cars in their yard, right? That's a lot of broken down cars. But it's not my property, so it's not for me to say, right? But the stuff that they were talking about first and foremost really was the stuff that's like right next to the road, like an abandoned car. Like if you own like a lot somewhere and you're not doing anything with it and it's just grass or grown or trees or whatever, but somebody abandoned their truck there and it's rotting, well, because it's your land, you got to get rid of it. I know that sucks. So you got to work. Basically, they're not saying, hey, we're going to crush you and give you a whole bunch of fines. They're saying, hey, we're the catalyst now. You got to call the mayor's office and get this stuff. Here's the mayor's number. They'll work with you on this and they'll take care of it. And apparently it sounds like it's pretty easy. It sounds scary when they talk about all these fines and all this stuff. It sounds like super heavy, like they're being a bunch of jerks. But the truth of it is they're not being jerks. You can't talk to this lady and tell me that she's a jerk. She's like the nicest, softest spoken. Maybe she's not the most dynamic presenter, but she's got really good information. And I know they put a lot of work into trying to put that presentation together. And it was, again, good info. And they're trying to make a real positive change, and they're not doing it with a heavy hand, right? They're not saying, well, screw you. If you can't do it, we're going to do it, and we're going to keep moving, and that's it. We're going to move on. We're going to start at the beaches. We're going to make our way up. No. Okay, look. These are the regulations that the board put out, and we're going to move forward with them. And we understand that not everybody's going to have an easy time with this. Work with us, and we're going to make it, and we'll figure it out. That's essentially the message I got last night, and it sounded really good. And I would be a big-time champion of if people were getting screwed over. It doesn't sound like they're trying to screw anybody over at all. Not at all. So again, like I was like kind of fired up when my friend sent me that message. It made it sound like, oh, they're going to be taking land. I'm like, what? How? Well, they're not. But they are making a change. And then the people who, like, if they can't do it, you know, they're going to say, hey, you gotta pay for it. And if you can't pay for it, we're going to pay for it. And then you got to pay us back. And then if you're deemed like indigent, like you're not going to be able to do it, they said they'll work with you. And I don't know what that means, but she made it seem to me like they understand that there are some people who will probably never be able to pay for it. It's kind of what it sounded like to me, like for some of it. It's not like you don't make any money and you've got like IPI in your property and you got to deal with. No, but like some people are not going to be able to pay for some of the smaller stuff. Like, and if the CNMI has to deal with it, they'll work on it. Yeah, it's not, I'll tell you, so that was a big thing. They're like, well, how are you going to enforce it? That's a great question. If the approach is too soft, then it looks like more formality than a mission. Totally get that. And that was the fine line I was watching her walk last night about saying that we're not going to give you everything. You have to do this. You have to work with us. Or, you know, that hammer does swing. But again, the key is that you have to work with them. That's it. That's the main thing is if you work with them to fix this stuff, you're going to be in good shape. You know, so I thought that was a good message, and I think it's a good deal. I definitely like it, and I know people who not just. Like, I know somebody who's not on a main road, but off of a side road, and they've got a vehicle that's been there for 17 years, maybe 16 years. And I was wondering why they didn't do anything about this. Maybe it's sentimental value, you know, maybe, oh, one day I would really love to do it. But, you know, it's not going to cost them anything to get that thing picked up by the mayor's office and take it to a recycling place. And this might be the thing that says, well, crap, I don't like being told what to do, but screw it, I guess I'll do it. And hopefully that helps, you know? And like I'm talking about, and that's somebody I know really well, right? I'm not passing any judgment on anybody. I mean, that's it. But it sounds like this is good. Okay, so it says, I truly believe if Governor prioritized this issue, more would happen now, not later. Yeah. Well, I mean, the good thing is, at least for this issue, like it's happening now. Like it's not a later thing. That's why they're going out and doing these things. And that building, when we spoke with Miss Ogumuro last night, that movie station building, she said that the people who own that property where that building was falling apart, she said because they started doing this and they haven't enforced yet, but because they worked with that property owner and they understood what was going on and what was coming, so they went ahead and did it. So that's already a positive. Like that's one positive location. Again, in the presentation, they show some other photos before and after, and they're pretty good. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get the PowerPoint, because they fly through so fast on the photos, and I really wanted to see more of that. All right, well, I'll tell you what, it is 9 o'clock. That was pretty fast, and I want to get you guys the updates from the Associated Press, and I want to get you guys, we got Today in History, and then I also got like folks that we want to talk about too. Ooh, someone sent us a message. I love it. And we got some other cool things that are going on in the community, like big events that are coming up, like a big fishing tournament and all that. So we'll be back with you with more of that right after this.
Hey, I'm Coach Derek Cutting, the owner and founder of Laddie Built Fitness. So no matter who you talk to here at Laddie Built, everyone feels that they are part of a family, part of a group of like-minded people. No one feels judged. No one feels like they're being teased or picked on or looked down upon because maybe they don't know what they're doing. They could be brand new and have no idea what they're doing. They might be overweight or really skinny and feel very self-conscious about themselves. But at Laddie Built, nobody judges here. And if you ask anybody here that might be in better shape than you or even not, but has experience in the gym, they will gladly help you through a workout and teach you a few techniques that can help you. So Laddie Built organically from day one, since the boot camp era, has organically grown this fostered environment of community and being a safe place, but a strong work ethic community of people that want to get work done. All I can say is that I put my heart and soul into it from day one. I treated everyone like that at the boot camp from the very, very beginnings, and everyone at the same time would treat each other like that from the boot camp era as well. And as we grew, as we got into a brick and mortar facility, we got bigger and bigger. I feel like people definitely just take this place as a home, as like their brother and sisters are working out next to them, not their enemy or not their competitor, So organically, it's just the vibe here is different. Everyone feels very, very comfortable, and I love the fact that it happened like that.
Paradise Dental's giving you the gas. Well, not that kind of gas. You already know that Paradise Dental has the most affordable coverage in the entire Marianas, and now we've got something special just for new customers. And now for a limited time, Paradise Dental is offering free gas vouchers for new signups for their coverage plan. If you sign up for a singles plan, you'll get a $10 gas voucher. If you sign up for a couples plan, that's a $15 gas voucher. And if you sign up for the whole family plan, that's a $20 gas voucher right after your first visit. So hurry down to Paradise Dental and sign up for the CNMI's most affordable dental coverage today. These gas vouchers are limited, and with smiles like these, you know they're gonna go fast. All right, Marianas, good morning. It is 9:06 and it is hump day. That's right, it's Wednesday. It's 70, is it still 79 degrees? No way, it's gotta be a little bit warmer now, right? It's 85 already. That's how much it's warmed up. 85 degrees and humidity all the way down to 65%, making it nice and comfy out there. Yeah, it's warmer, but hey, that breeze and that humidity making it nice outside today. Hey, today is the general membership meeting for the Saipan Chamber of Commerce. Going to take place today at 11:30 over at Kensington. So you know the food's going to be pretty good. And the Speaker of the House of Representatives, no, not the United States, even better, the local one, Edmund Villagomez is going to be the big presenter. So looking forward to hearing from him today over there. That's going to be outstanding because he's just a good dude. And hopefully he's got some good info for us. Save our economy, Mr. House Speaker. All right, well, we're not expecting that to happen today, but at least we'll hear from him and hear what they have to say about everything. Love going down to the Kensington. I don't get down there nearly enough because I'm more of a Pow Pow Beach kind of guy, truthfully. All right, well, we've got it all queued up and ready to go, so let's get you the latest update that just dropped at 9 o'clock from the Associated Press to get you caught up with everything that's happening in the mainland and all around the world.
I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump's welcomed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House, the first foreign leader to visit in his second term. As they sat down to talk, Trump suggested displaced Palestinians in Gaza be permanently resettled outside the territory.
I don't think people should be going back to Gaza. I think that Gaza has been very unlucky for them. They've lived like hell. They lived like you're living in hell. Gaza is not a place for people to be living. And the only reason they want to go back, and I believe this strongly, is because they have no alternative. What's the alternative? Go where? There's no other alternative. If they had an alternative, they'd much rather not go back to Gaza and live in a beautiful alternative that's safe.
Trump and his advisors argue the 3 to 5 year timeline for reconstruction of Gaza laid out in a temporary truce is not viable. Earlier, President Trump said he's left instructions for what should happen if Iran assassinates him. Sakir Magani has details.
As he signed an executive order calling for the U.S. to impose maximum pressure on Tehran, reporters asked the president what would happen if Iran assassinates him.
I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it.
The Justice Department said in November it filed federal charges in an Iranian plot to kill the then GOP nominee before the election. It alleged Iranian officials had told a man weeks earlier to focus on watching and ultimately assassinating Trump. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Tulsi Gabbard's nomination to be Director of National Intelligence has moved a step closer to confirmation, the Senate Intelligence Committee voting behind closed doors to advance it to the full Senate. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appears on track to become health secretary after winning the support of Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, a doctor who says Kennedy has assured him he would not scrap the nation's childhood vaccination program. This is AP News. A sign the labor market's cooling but healthy. The Labor Department reports job openings fell in December to 7.6 million. The number of layoffs fell, while the number of people quitting their jobs rose modestly. And Seth Sutel has the AP Markets report.
Tech companies led the way higher on Wall Street as calm returned to the stock market. Markets had swung sharply a day earlier. Investors worry that President Donald Trump's tariffs could spark a trade war that would hurt economies around the world. The S&P 500 rose 0.7% Tuesday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 134 points. That's about 0.3%. The Nasdaq Composite climbed 1.4%. Palantir Technologies soared 24%, following a stronger than expected profit report. Treasury yields eased in the bond market. That came after a report suggested that the job market is still solid, but not adding as much pressure to inflation. Seth Sutel, New York.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thank you for listening.
All right, that's the latest from the Associated Press. And, well, that's what we had today in the news. But now it's time for one of our regular features, also from the AP, Today in History.
February 5th, 1937. President Franklin D. Roosevelt proposes boosting the number of justices on the U.S. Supreme Court. He pushes the plan after the court strikes down key parts of his New Deal program during the Great Depression.
The court itself can best undo what the court has done.
But critics accuse Roosevelt of trying to pack the High Court, and he suffers his first major defeat in Congress. 1994. In Mississippi, Byron Della Beckwith is convicted of murdering civil rights leader Medgar Evers more than 30 years earlier. Beckwith, a white supremacist, gets life in prison. He dies behind bars nearly 7 years later. 1914, William S. Burroughs, one of the writers during the Beat movement of the 1950s, is born in St. Louis. 1967.
No, we're going to do a little ditty that's going to make everybody happy, Tom.
I'm not.
The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, the TV variety show for the 60s counterculture, premieres on CBS. And 1934.
That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone.
Baseball Hall of Famer Hank Aaron is born in Mobile, Alabama. Today in history, February 5th. Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
Number 14, Ian Miller.
It's a great day to be up 3-0. I'll tell you that. It probably is not great to be down.
I'm Brad Rosala, and I'm the owner for Commonwealth Communications.
And I am Jojo Alipuzu. I am the owner of Island Image and Motion.
And this is our joint venture, Sideline Studios. This whole concept that we have of doing all these live stream productions and covering news and doing live shows and everything, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a great partner like IT&E, someone who can handle the bandwidth and provide it and then get us what we need when we need it, and then be a real partner for us for all the events, whether we're doing live sporting events, broadcasts. All of these things happen because of our partnership with IT&E.
With IT&E providing us with the fiber and point-to-point and even the MBRs, is just a great piece of equipment to use when we're broadcasting our sports, our events, our performances, especially our cultural performances. And it's just great to share our culture here in the Marianas with the world. And IT&E has been there from the get-go.
The thing I like best about working with IT&E is how willing they are to come out and find a solution. Even for Liberation Day, we thought we had a pretty good solution for our live stream setup, and it turns out that we did not have the right setup that we thought we needed. That day, just before the parade, reached out to Paul and said, here's our situation. What do you think? He's like, we're going to figure this out. While he's sitting there barbecuing, getting ready for the parade to start, he starts burning up the phone lines, calling everybody in IT&E, what can we do, what's the right solution? They left their families to do this stuff and get us the equipment that we needed to broadcast live. That's over and above. That's on a holiday. That's when he was out there spending time with his family.
That's why ITNE is just the best, just really in touch with the people and the community.
I recommend ITNE to everybody. Tell them the options are there, and you could choose whoever you want and then figure out what you think is the best. But when you're ready, when you're tired of having your calls disconnected or not having service, then you reach out to the guys from ITNE.
All right, 7:15 here on Wednesday. Can't believe it's going to be a busy one today. We're going to be all over the place, and we are going to wrap up here pretty soon because we got a lot of running around town to do. But it's been a good one today. We got to talk about a lot of stuff, and there's still plenty of stuff we can talk about. Talk about those tariffs that got paused. We talk about that terrible plane crash where they've now removed all of the remains of all 67 of the victims from the plane and the helicopter in the Potomac. Just wild how that happened. A couple of plane crashes, that one in Philadelphia. And then this other thing about our new State Department Secretary, Marco Rubio, who said that El Salvador is they're not only going to take the deportees from the U.S., but they're even going to take Americans. We're going to ship Americans to El Salvador. I didn't know that was going to be one of our exports, but hey, maybe if they're the bad ones, I'm not even opposed to it, as long as I'm not one of them. You know, as long as they let me stay here, I'm okay with it. But if I have to get deported, then I don't know. Then we got to talk. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up for today, folks. I want to say thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching us every day. And thanks for sending us info. My gosh, the info that we get from you guys is outstanding. There is one more thing to tell you about real quick. And I can pop it up here on the screen. Let me just add it. Do I have a screen here where I got it handy? Maybe I'll just talk about it tomorrow. But we did get a heads up from the folks over at Tossy to Table. Here, I can pull it up over here. Just waiting for it to open up. About a tournament that they have coming up. And you know what's great? I'm so glad that they messaged us because I'm like, they're literally right down the hall from us too. So I'm like, if they're doing stuff, they should definitely let us know. Like, I'm not doing a good enough job networking if the guys who are literally like 30 feet down the hall from us aren't getting us the info. So here's the info. Yeah, so this is I'm guessing that's the 8th annual or 6th annual. I can't tell based on the fancy design that they got there. It's the 5th annual. Is that a 6? Okay, let's just say it's the 6th annual Wahoo in the Marianas. It's going to be March 8th. And they got some big prizes up there. It looks like $5,000 worth of prizes altogether. There's first prize is $2,000. Second, $1,500. Third is $1,000. And the total weight category gives you another $500. That's the 3 heaviest non-placing Wahoo. That's pretty good. If you want more information about it, you want to get in on that. First of all, registration's on March 7th at Smiling Cove from 4 to 6 p.m. that night. And it's $200. That's for 1 captain and 2 anglers. If you want a 3rd or a 4th, however many you want, you got to pay an extra $30 for the other folks who are in it. You want to reach out to them. It's tossytotable@gmail.com. And you can give them a phone call at 670-789-2539. Says this derby's led and organized by Tossy to Table student members. And the funds raised from the derby will go to Tossy to Table's student program. It's a great event, great organization. I love that they're doing it. It's with the Dowk Academy, Cagman High School, AYU, Saipan Southern High School, Manta. Got it. MHS, home of the Dolphins. I don't know what their cheer is. I think it's I know. PSS and Tossy to Table. And it's the 5th annual Wahoo in the Marianas. So all the stuff is down there, and you're good to go. Louisa, speaking of baseball tonight, yes, I'll be there. I stopped by and saw Scotty And he's got us locked in for pizza for tonight for baseball. Woo! That's right. Fighting anorexia, one bite of pizza at a time. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Glad that you were here, and we'll be back again tomorrow morning. And hopefully we're even better when we do it tomorrow morning. All right, guys, have a great day. I hope it's the best day of the week so far. It's going to be wild. It's going to be weird and wild and all that stuff. We'll be back again tomorrow. You guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings. To Rhoda, Guam, Sabin, and Tinian. For all your island news. From a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good morning, Marianas.
Take care.